Because I have found throughout my career that the key to asking for time off and getting it approved every time is asking for it in a way that shows no cause for concern, that there's a plan in place to make sure the necessary work still gets done, that your responsibilities are covered, and that it's at a time where the impact of your absence is minimal, right? You're not going to be missed.
Hi there, friend, and welcome to the Design Your Happiness podcast, where we work to live, not live to work, and the financial gains and well-earned free time of the lives and careers or business we've designed have taken the place of those late work nights, stressful, all too short weekends, and feelings of just getting by. I'm Rebecca Hayes, a corporate girl who recently decided to branch into entrepreneurship because what I really enjoy is helping others define their own path. And for me, that comes at the intersection of the life you want, the career or business you enjoy, and the money to make it possible. And that's where Design Your Happiness comes in. So let's work together to reclaim your finances, reimagine your life and career or business, and redesign your happiness so you have the confidence, energy, and concrete strategies to build the life of your dreams. Are you in?
Today, we're going to be talking about how to ask for time off so you can take that much needed break and maybe even finally take that vacation you've been dreaming about. So, we'll be diving into why asking for time off is so important, the benefits of taking a break, and 5 tips to ask for time off so you get it approved and can take that well-deserved vacation. All right, let's get into it. So, I just want to start by saying this feels like a long overdue conversation because I am such a big proponent of vacation and taking time off, even in my corporate career. And I do mean actually taking time off where you unplug, you don't work, not even checking an email, and you get the rest and space you need to come back feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and so much stronger than you were before the time off. Because honestly, or we put on ourselves, which is sometimes the worst stress, but anyways, no matter what the source of the stress and pressure is that is built up, it has a chance to melt away when you take a proper break. And then it's almost like coming back to work with a clean slate, feeling refreshed and ready to totally excel at your job. Like you're ready to dive in, you're ready to do great things, do amazing work, and really drive things forward. So if you've never experienced that, or you've never taken, let's say, a week off from work, then stick with me. Because by the end of this episode, we'll have you asking for that time off so you can get this experience firsthand for yourself and come back, like I said, clean slate, refreshed, and ready to totally be amazing at your job. Are you with me? Let's get into it. So, how do you ask for time off? Especially a longer time, like a week. How do you ask for that? Well, I'm going to give you 5 tips when asking for time off to get it approved every time. Are you ready? Tip number 1, give plenty of notice. We don't want to be asking for time off at the last minute. Instead, we want to do it in a way that feels completely planned out and it doesn't raise any cause for concern. when we ask for vacation, we want them to walk right past it and just say, yes, you can absolutely have it. I'm going to walk you through how we get there, but starting with the notice, odds are your company has a vacation policy. Now, different companies have more or less defined policies. Some are very explicit in what their policy is, and others just give some guiding principles. So, whichever one yours has, we're going to start by taking a look at the company policy. And we're going to see if they have a required notice period or even just some recommended guidelines. So, for example, if you were only going to ask for a day off at a time, then your policy may say that you only need to give like a week's notice. But if you're taking a longer period, let's say you're taking the full week off, then maybe your policy says you need to let your boss know, 2 months in advance or a month in advance, whatever it is. Now, if your policy doesn't get that explicit, that's fine. But we want to start here to see what the expectation is that the company has already set. And then when we're deciding how much notice to give, you want to at least give whatever the recommended amount of notice is within your company policy. But ideally, we want to give even more notice. So, like I said, if your policy says you need to give 2 months' notice to take a week off, then we want to back that up and give 2.5 or 3 months' notice for the time period that we want. Which brings us to tip number 2. Pick a time to take your week off or your vacation time when you won't be missed. Now, I know that you are very good at your job. And because of that, it can feel like everything will come to a grinding halt in your absence. But I can guarantee you it won't. The wheels will keep turning, things will keep getting done, maybe not as efficiently as if you were there, but the whole business won't come to a grinding halt. But even if it does, let's say in some weird otherworld scenario, the whole business can't run without you. We're going to pick a time of year that doesn't matter if you're gone. So you know your business and your responsibilities better than anyone. So for this tip, I want you to think about at what point in the year do you experience a lull in your work? Like a slowdown, where there's less work to be done or you're out of your busy season. What time of year is that? Or if there are multiple times of year, let's start there. And we want to think about that in terms of if you were out for a week, that it would be completely fine. What time of year is that for you? And this is also where getting in your notice early comes in handy because you don't want to ask for time off when, 3 other people or, X number of people in your department are already scheduled to be out. But if you're the first one, you're more likely to get your pick of the time off, and it's more likely to be a complete non-issue, right? So, figure out what time of year you could take that time off and not be missed. Now, tip number 3 is for that scenario. Now, tip number 3 gives you that peace of mind and your boss. All right. So, for tip number 3, we're going to think about the coverage needed. I mean, we're already putting in early for the time off, so there's advanced warning, and we're already choosing a time that will be convenient for you to be gone. But before we ask for the time off, we want to think about any possible objections or hesitations that your boss may have when you say, I'm going to be absent for a week. Now, that usually comes in the form of your boss asking, but who will do X, Y, and Z, insert whatever your job responsibilities are, while you're out? Now, this question can sometimes make us feel like we shouldn't ask for vacation going back to that feeling like the business will come to a grinding halt without us, like it would be a detriment to the company and maybe even make us look bad, or like we aren't working hard because we're asking to be gone for, let's say, a week. Now, that is just your inner gremlins coming out. It's natural to be a little bit afraid to ask for the time off, especially if you're not in the habit or haven't done it before. But let me assure you, you deserve to have time off. You deserve to have a week off. And your boss and the company you work for, they know it too, even if they don't always communicate it well. But that's why we're going to think this through before we ask for the time off. And when we go to ask for time off, we're going to have a plan for who or how our responsibilities will be covered while we're gone. So when we're asking, or if there's a hesitation for your boss or the company to approve your time off, we can say we already have a plan to take care of our responsibilities. Sound good? Are you with me so far? All right. Tip number 4 is to clearly communicate your requests and be flexible. So when you go to ask for the time off, you want to clearly communicate the dates and times you plan to be out. For example, are you asking to be gone a full week, Monday through Friday? Or does the time off span 2 weeks? And by that I mean, would it be like Wednesday in week 1 through Wednesday in week 2? Whatever your plan is, be clear about the dates you're asking for and the time period in which you're going to be off. And a little sub tip here, if you're asking verbally, I also recommend explaining that you chose the dates because you know it's outside of your busy season or it's within a slow period. And of course, this is where the reminder comes in to be flexible. Because when you're requesting the time off, I mean, you did your part. You did the research beforehand and you selected a time that you believe is a slow season. But your boss may know something you don't. Maybe you picked a time that's typically a slow period, but maybe this year or at that time this year, they're going to be changing things so that it's not actually a slow period. And there's another time that might be better for you to take that week off. That's why we haven't booked anything yet or planned out our trip, so we can be flexible. So don't get discouraged here if they say, actually, that's not a great time. If that does happen, don't hesitate to ask if they have a better time in mind, right? If we could shift that time period to a different part of the year or season that makes more sense. All right, tip number 5 is to plan for your time off. And I don't mean actually planning your trip, at least not yet. But what I mean is that you need to plan your time at work leading up to your time off. So whether you ask for time off in person, aka verbally, or your company has a defined process for requesting vacation, make sure you have the approval in writing before you go about booking your vacation. Then, as soon as you have that approval in writing, block your calendar for the dates, fill out any formal paperwork or scheduling trackers that capture your time off and alert everybody that you will be out for that period. Again, this is if your company has that defined process, but make sure that you're going through any of those hoops. And then finally, I want you to set reminders 2 weeks from the time you're going to be out. And that is just so that you can remind your boss or your team that you're going on vacation. Because even if they approve the vacation and they know it's coming, people get busy. And we don't want the vacation that you already asked for coming as a surprise later because they forgot and we didn't remind them. Okay? So set yourself up all the way through to the time that you are closing down work, and walking away for your vacation so that it's super smooth, it's planned out, and no one feels a sense of urgency or hesitation about you taking the time off. And that's really all there is to it. Because I have found throughout my career that the key to asking for time off and getting it approved every time is asking for it in a way that shows no cause for concern, that there's a plan in place to make sure the necessary work still gets done, that your responsibilities are covered, and that it's at a time where the impact of your absence is minimal, right? You're not going to be missed. And that's really all there is to it. So now you've done the hard work, you got your vacation approved, and you executed on your plan to cover your absence. So now it's time to go and enjoy your vacation. Make sure you save this episode for the next time you want to ask for time off and take that well-deserved vacation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you want to get connected or chat about anything here, or if you have any other tips for how you have asked for a vacation and gotten it approved, I want to hear about it. All right, until next time, keep designing your happiness.
Hey there, friend. We've made it to the end of another Design Your Happiness episode. And if you're loving what you're hearing and you know someone else who would benefit from hearing it too, please share this episode with them. I can't tell you how much it would mean to me to support even more ambitious, aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself. So send them a text or a quick email with the link, and let's help even more people build the lives and businesses they've been dreaming about. All right, I'll see you next time. Until then, keep designing your happiness.